Hello, I'm Owen Edgerton, writer, director, novelist, master pancaker, and I'm here to talk to you about Halloween. The Alamo Drafthouse and I want to catch you up on the two movies leading up to Halloween Kills. This is previously on Halloween's. So, at its heart, Halloween is the story of a quiet young man named Michael Myers, returning to his hometown of Haddonfield, Illinois, to find his roots, reconnect with old friends, and hack them to death. Michael had been institutionalized since he was 6 years old for brutally murdering his big sister on Halloween night while dressed like this. Flash forward 15 years, and his best frenemy is Dr. Samuel Loomis, who believes that the eyes are the window to the soul, or lack thereof.
You fooled them, haven't you, Mike? But not me.
On the night before Halloween, Michael breaks out of the mental hospital, steals Dr. Loomis's work-issued station wagon, obtains a Halloween mask, and heads to Haddonfield for some slow-motion sightseeing.
Hey, jerk! Speed kills!
The next day, Halloween, we meet 17-year-old Laurie Strode, whose father, as fate would have it, is a realtor and selling Michael Myers' old house. Laurie's due to babysit a local boy named Tommy Doyle, who may or may not grow up to be Paul Rudd.
I don't know you, do I?
I'm Tommy. Tommy Doyle.
Tommy, by the way, is particularly focused on the notion of the boogeyman.
What's the boogeyman?
Well, buckle up, kid. Laurie picks up the vibe that she's being followed, but her friends Annie and Linda really think she should focus on getting a date for the dance tomorrow night.
Well, you could ask Dick Baxter. He'd go out with you.
Ugh, anyone but Dick Baxter. Give me some of that Ben Tramer.
Ben Tramer? Shut up.
Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis, having traveled through the mountainous and oddly California-like landscape of central Illinois, has arrived in Haddonfield and is tracking Michael from his old house to his sister's headstoneless grave.
He came home.
That night, Laurie's friend Annie is babysitting a little girl named Lindsay Wallace, who, trust us, will be important later. Lindsay lives across the street from where Laurie is watching Tommy, who starts watching Michael hanging around, while Michael watches Tommy. There's a whole lot of watching going down. We follow Annie for a little while, and through a series of unfortunate events, over and over and over again, we think that Michael's about to murder her. But no, she just gets stuck in a window without wearing pants, like people do.
Stuck, huh?
All right, cut it out. It can happen to anyone.
She invites her boyfriend over for, and pawns Lindsay off on Laurie. That's when... You don't want to enter a car with foggy windows. Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis is on the prowl.
Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
And he connects with Sheriff Brackett, who is Annie's father, by the way. He thinks Loomis is way too worked up.
I have the feeling that you're way off on this.
Loomis might be right, but he's a total buzzkill.
Death has come to your little town, Sheriff.
Meanwhile, Michael's gotta be thinking, what luck? Because Laurie's friend Linda and her boyfriend Bob have gone over to the house where Annie was babysitting for some, well, you know. After sexing, Bob gets up and says, I'll be right back.
Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back!
Oh shit, this movie totally rips off Scream. Let's put a pin in it. You ever just look at your victims?
Boy, 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 you were just my little toy, and now we're through, I no longer need you.
While Linda's still in the sheets, Michael becomes a mild-mannered ghost. In the moments before her death, Linda checks in with Laurie, and the last words she ever hears are... Not far away, Loomis has just tracked down Michael's stabbing wagon and begins checking all the houses up and down the street. Back at the house, Laurie begins her own investigation. And again, Michael's gotta be thinking, wow, these teens, they're just coming straight at me. It's like I don't even have to get up to go to the salad bar. The croutons fly at my face. Laurie finds that Michael's been dabbling in interior decoration. That's really quite the tableau. And then, out of the shadows, Laurie and Michael meet for the first time. It's awkward, but Michael tries to cut to the chase. Thankfully, this house doesn't have an open-plan kitchen, so Laurie's able to get away. And because this is the heartland of America in the good old days, all her neighbors are there to assist, though maybe not so much. She makes it back to Tommy's house, and Tommy's sense of urgency could really be better. Michael gets in, but Laurie jabs him in the neck with a knitting needle. He's dead. Laurie gathers up the kids to get him out of there, but Tommy's being so Tommy.
What is the boogeyman?
Tommy, if you say boogeyman one more time, by God, I swear...
You can't kill the boogeyman.
So Michael attacks again, but Laurie stabs him in the eye with a coat hanger, and then in the chest. He is definitely dead now. The kids go barreling out of the house, and Loomis is like, "Oh, this must be the place." Michael rises again, goes after Laurie again, and we get a very quick glimpse of his face before Dr. Loomis shoots him, and shoots him, and shoots him, and shoots him, and shoots him, until he falls off the balcony.
Ladies and gentlemen, I shot him 6 times. I shot him 6 times.
Couldn't have shot him 6 times.
I stood up and fired 6 shots into him. He just got up and walked away.
I shot him 6 times.
What do you fellas usually do? Fire a warning shot, right?
Claims to have shot him 6
I
times.
shot him 6 times. I shot him 6 times.
No man can take 6 slugs.
I told you this isn't a man.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
So Michael's definitely dead this time. Except, well, who knows? And that was Halloween from 1978. And after that, some other stuff happened. But then it didn't happen. But then it happened again, but differently. And then at one point, the whole world died with kids' heads blowing up and bugs coming out of their ears. But then none of that really happened. Just this happened. In the moments after the end of the first movie, Michael Myers was captured and arrested and sent back to Smith's Grove Psychiatric Hospital. How's he doing in late October 2018? Well, about as well as can be expected. Lots of standing and human checkers. His pal Dr. Loomis is long dead and has been replaced by Dr. Sartain, who, unlike Loomis, doesn't want to personally execute his patient. He wants to study him. And so do Dana and Aaron, a pair of true crime podcasters that want to interview Michael for their show, which is going to be a tough one since Michael isn't exactly what you would call a chatterbox. To get him to agree to the interview, the Attorney General's office loaned them Michael's original mask from 1978, which really might be less than ethical. But bad news for the podcasters and the sympathetic Dr. Sartain, Michael's about to be transferred on a bus to a maximum security prison. We know what that means. Let's inflate that pumpkin. So what's Laurie Strode been doing for 40 years? Waiting for Michael all this time. The trauma she experienced changed her from a shy, terrified teenager into a trained, gun-wielding, compound-dwelling survivor.
I shot him 6 times.
She's obsessed with Michael Myers, she's got a drinking problem, and she's estranged from her daughter Karen, who was removed from her home at age 12 and deeply resents her upbringing. However, Laurie still maintains a relationship with her granddaughter, Allison. She's that kind of grandma who discourages college.
Fuck college. Go somewhere. Go to Mexico.
Barges into celebration dinners, you know the kind. When the podcasters arrive at her gate, they offer her a chance to tell her story, and maybe to talk to Michael Myers for the first time in 4 decades. They also offer her $3,000. Hey, those Stamps.com ads stack up. On Halloween morning, the podcasting duo moves on to another great spot for audio recording, the cemetery. Specifically, the grave of the person that started it all, Michael's sister, Judith. But Michael's watching them the whole time, and then follows them to a gas station bathroom. Interestingly, this was the least disturbing thing that happened in this stall that day. And with that, Michael's able to complete the ensemble, and the world loses one of 15 million true crime podcasts. The word gets out that Michael's in town, and pieces are put in place. Deputy Hawkins, who arrested Michael as a rookie back in '78, tries to warn the sheriff about Michael. Laurie prepares her Batcave and tries to warn Karen.
The world is not a dark and evil place. It is full of love and understanding, and I'm not letting your psychotic rants confuse me or convince me otherwise.
And Allison is at a Halloween dance with her boyfriend, and they're doing this gender-swapped Bonnie and Clyde thing, but Bonnie is getting a little too friendly with another lady, and they argue, and Allison's phone gets dunked. Meanwhile, Michael is checking out his old haunts, but he's not content to just rely on old memories. He's creating new ones. Wait, this is a Halloween movie. Where's the babysitting? To that, we look to Allison's friend Vicky, who's watching a little kid named Julian. If you didn't know that Danny McBride co-wrote this movie, well, you do now.
If I had some other kind of babysitter, she'd be reading me a story. I wouldn't be up clipping my nasty ass toenails.
Vicky's invited her boyfriend Dave over for some, well, alakazam and dry humping. I think you know where this leads. Laurie and Deputy Hawkins head over to the house to investigate, where Hawkins makes a spooky discovery, and Laurie and Michael have a classic say anything moment.
In your eyes, the light, the heat, your eyes, I am complete. Your eyes, see the doorway, your eyes, 1,000 churches, your eyes.
They're joined by Dr. Sartain, who's injured from Michael's escape, but still up for a little meddling and fanboying over Laurie. Meanwhile, Allison is completely unaware of all of this because she doesn't have her phone. She's been walked home from the dance by her friend Oscar, who's desperately trying to sneak out of the friend zone.
You deserve better.
They take a shortcut over a fence that has these spikes. Let's call them Chekhov spikes. Oscar makes a move, gets rejected, and Allison storms off, leaving Oscar alone until he's not. Laurie, Karen, and Karen's husband Ray head to Laurie's house. Deputy Hawkins, who's stuck with Dr. Sartain, finds Allison, and it's off to grandmother's house we go. On the way, they literally run into Michael. Hawkins, who knows Michael has to be finished off, is stabbed by Dr. Sartain, who we learn orchestrated Michael's escape himself because he's a very bad doctor. Allison, meanwhile, is stuck in the backseat of the cop car with Michael, while Dr. Sartain is behind the wheel. She tricks the doctor into pulling over, but then Michael wakes up. Michael and the doc have one final session. The doctor asks him to say something, and the response is truly mind-blowing. Back at the Strode Fort, the family prepares, while Allison navigates the scenic route. When they notice a cop car is pulled up, Allison's dad, Ray, investigates and finds a highly inventive jack-o'-lantern inside. Michael tries to barge in and reconnect with Laurie, and Laurie takes down his digits. With Karen safe and waiting in the basement, Laurie begins hunting. She makes a gruesome discovery and learns that indeed, Michael is no dummy. They tussle, and it's out the window for Laurie, but she's learned a few things from her non-relative. Michael follows Allison inside, when Karen flips on her Kitty Sanchez energy and shoots Michael from the basement.
Michael is threatening me!
Gotcha.
Setting up a double play team up with Laurie.
Happy Halloween, Michael.
See, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And Laurie's been planning this scenario for decades. Michael's trapped in the basement, a bit of subtext there, and the house is set ablaze. Team Strode gets out, Allison flags down a truck, and the ladies take a well-deserved rest, comfortable in the knowledge that finally, the boogeyman is truly dead. Unless, of course, there are 2 more sequels on the way. Well, you're all caught up. Enjoy Halloween Kills, and join us back here next year for Halloween Ends. But does Halloween ever end?